I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and let the record show that all members of the City Council are present this evening with the exception of Councilman Bilsbach. Copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the meeting room on the west wall and is accessible to members of the public at any time during the course of this meeting. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a councilman so requests. First item is approve agenda as submitted. Item B, receive and place on file all notices pertaining to this meeting. Item C, receive and place on file all materials having any bearing on this meeting. Item D, approval of minutes of regular meeting on May 16th, 2022, as on file in the City Clerk's office. E, approval of Treasurer's report of claims in the amount of $589,019.91. F, approval of Boswell report of claims in the amount of $10,062.78. G, approval of write-off of ambulance bad debts. H, approval of final pay request in the amount of $50,856.06 for the Chief Standing Bear Trail Concrete Parking Lot Project 2021 to R.L. Tiemann Construction. And item I, approval of change order number 2, an increase in the amount of $7,565 to Building Crafts Incorporated for the WPC Dewatering Improvements Project as recommended by the Board of Public Works. Any item that any member of the council wants removed from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none.
I move that the items listed on the consent agenda be approved, accepted, and ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Morgan, that all items listed under the consent agenda be approved, accepted, and or ratified. And your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. No public hearings or bids this evening. Next is a resolution number 6891, executing an agreement for professional services between the city and JEO Consulting Group, Incorporated, to the city's storm water prevention pollution plan for the city's wastewater treatment facility, as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
I move that resolution number 6891 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Morgan, that resolution 6891 be passed and adopted. Taylor?
All right, so what we have here before you tonight is just a resolution to hire JEO to do the city's stormwater prevention pollution plan. This is a requirement for a permitting process that we are going through and applies to any and all industrial buildings or industrial sites that could have pollution contaminants running through the stormwater. This plan, as well as the permit, should be good for about 5 years. And we're using JEO just because they're involved with a lot of our MS4 plan, and it's really easy for them to kind of come in and do this, already having that intimate knowledge with our system so far.
Questions, gentlemen? Anyone from the audience? All right. And your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Resolution 6891 has been passed and adopted. Next is item B of that item, resolution 6892, entering into an access agreement near 6th and Sargent Street between the city and Via Real Estate, LLC.
I move that resolution number 6892 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Kerr, that resolution 6892 be passed and adopted. Tobias?
It's all right.
Taylor?
And if we could just scroll down a little bit here so you can kind of see the map area, maybe full screen it so we can get a little bit clearer view of it. I just want to make sure everybody can understand here what we have going on. Okay, so this is a development that's going to come through on a parcel that's located right at the intersection of North 6th Street and Sargent Street. The sort of gray or the darker gray road to the left is Sargent Street, with a little bit lighter road being up top being North 6th Street. This access agreement just states that Drive A, which is kind of highlighted in red right there, is going to be the initial driveway, initial access point for this development. That is because the road that you can see kind of looping around there has not been developed yet. The developers were unable to get the easements that they wanted to have the road developed that way. So what this access agreement does is just ensure that if and when that windier road is ever developed, the developer will abandon and demolish driveway A at their sole cost and develop driveway B to enter in onto that new access road if and when that is ever developed. And I've already kind of been asked the question before. This does not obligate the city to do any kind of paving or anything like that for this. This is solely just to preeminently have this option if and when that second road is developed.
Questions, gentlemen? Anyone from the audience? All right, your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Resolution 6892 has been passed and adopted. Next is an ordinance adopting an economic development program as authorized by the Local Option Municipal Economic Development Act.
I move that said ordinance be given number 22-10, the title thereof be approved, the rules be suspended, and the said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Fralin.
Retirement's done you well.
It really has, hasn't it? That the ordinance be given 22-10, the title thereof approved, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is now debatable. Your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 22-10 by number the first time, ordinance 22-10 by number the second time, and ordinance 22-10 by number the third and final time.
I move that the ordinance number 22-10 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Fralin, that ordinance number 22-10 be passed and approved. Any further discussion?
Well, for this one here, this is just kind of the end cap on adopting the newly amended economic program. We put this before you guys back in March, and then that had to go to a vote of the people in our last election. This was approved by the vote of the people, and the amendment to this essentially just put this to a 6-year term being effective from March 2023 to April 2029, and we wanted to make sure that we added all of the new qualifying businesses in our economic plan. So it was mainly just to catch up to the statute and add all of those in there. And now that we've had the certification from the election commissioner, we can go ahead and adopt this on our end.
Questions? Anyone from the audience? And your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 22-10 has been passed and adopted. Next is an ordinance conveying real estate described as lots 1 through 10, Gage County Industrial Park addition to the city of Beatrice, Gage County, Nebraska, owned by the city to D2 Strategic Development Fund number 7, LLC.
I move that said ordinance be given number 22-11, the title thereof be approved, the rules be suspended, and the said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Fralin, that the ordinance be given 22-11, the title thereof approved, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. That's approved 7-0. Ordinance number 22-11 by number the first time, ordinance 22-11 by number the second time, and ordinance 22-11 by number the third and final time.
I move that said ordinance number 22-11 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by McLean and seconded by Fralin, that ordinance number 22-11 be passed and approved. Taylor?
All right, so this company reached out to us recently to purchase this parcel you can see up here. It's just east of the Beatrice Municipal Airport, and it is in our industrial park. This parcel consists of about 10 lots that have been combined over the years. The developer here is proposing to essentially just have a logistics and distribution center here. We originally tried to get them to pay us $240,000 for this, came back and countered at $190,000, and eventually settled on $210,000 for the final sales price. And so we're just bringing that in front of you guys for your approval.
Questions?
Taylor.
Yep.
You told me
Rich.
that there is a deposit on this if they happen to back out on it.
Yes, so there is a 90-day due diligence period, but they are giving us a deposit of $5,000 once this gets approved. And so they can back out of that at any point, but I believe that they do forfeit that deposit in the event that they back out on that. But this is only unusual in that we're going to close on this 90 days out as opposed to the traditional 31 days out.
Questions? Anyone?
And just to note, as far as our knowledge goes, there is nothing to really worry about as far as any hazards or anything like that. So we expect this to go through fairly easily.
Any questions from the audience? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance 22-11 has been passed and approved. Next is resolution number 6893, entering into a contract for sale of real estate to D2 Strategic Development Fund 7 LLC for lots 1 through 10, Gage County Industrial Park addition to the city of Beatrice, Nebraska.
I move that resolution number 6893 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Fralin, that number 6893 be passed and adopted. Any further discussion needed, gentlemen? Anyone from the audience? And your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Resolution 6893 has been passed and adopted. Next is the public forum. Purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the city council for consideration at a later date. No discussion or action will be taken by the council at this time. Is there anyone here for the public forum? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Steve Tart, 23436 Southwest 70th Road, Beatrice.
Hi, Steve.
Hi. There's been a real movement on Facebook about the Chautauqua Falls. And I've been talking to Tobias and Mark, and they suggested to come to this meeting. We're not ready for a full agenda yet. We all know the pump did not work coming out of the pond. It's not feasible. It clogs. I was told it's burned up. What we are wanting to do is go for a well.
Okay.
We don't even have a mission statement wrote up yet. We don't have a full committee yet. But I wanted to bring it to your attention because Tobias, he suggested it. So, how far down the road can you take a city council meeting on an agenda?
I guess I don't understand. I mean, if it's going to be an agenda item, we can put it on at any time whenever you're ready, Steve.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I'd like it to be about a month, I believe.
That's not a problem.
Okay, so at that time, we'll come back and ask it to be put on the agenda?
Can
Okay.
I ask him a couple
Yeah,
questions?
well, it's a public forum, you're not supposed to. But it's something that I think Tobias is familiar with, so I think we will just proceed that way. But since it's a public forum, Steve, we really can't have this
Yeah,
interaction.
I knew that.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been here enough times to know that.
Sure, sure.
So anyway, we want to inform the city about what we're proposing,
Okay.
what we're trying to do, get things moving. We hope to have a picnic between now and July. Is it July 27th you'll be meeting?
Everybody's grabbing their calendar.
Nope. July 27th is a Wednesday.
Okay, that's 27th.
The 18th or the
July-
work session.
Be the 18th.
Yeah, July 18th.
The 18th? Yeah, that'd be fine, be on 18th.
or a possibility of a work session on the 25th, just to discuss it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, is there anybody else for the public forum? Okay, next on the agenda is the Clean City Week review. Jason?
Evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
We'll make this fairly quick. The computer did not want to load my program, so we're gonna do this off of memory a little bit. I believe you guys have all got some numbers also.
Put it this way.
What we're looking at this year is from my side of things, we're looking at a very successful Clean City. We had 703 stops this year. I believe that's down from give or take about 1,200, give or take a little over 1,200 stops that we had in 2020, and I think a little over 1,100 maybe in 2021. And so, we had a substantial reduction in locations, and with that leads to a substantial reduction in costs this year with just under $8,000 is what we had for total expense for Clean City. We were able to, there you go. Thank you, Ryan. And so with our 703 locations that we had, we had a fairly easy week, if you want to call it that, for this year. We had very, very few, 21 declines out of 700. And so with the decline, what you're looking at is an item that we came to that was a bag of garbage or lumber, tires, something that we specifically state on the website that is a restricted item. Most of what we seen this year was garbage bags. Honestly, I went through and looked at just about every one of our locations that we had that we declined. Almost all of them were because somebody put garbage bags out with their Clean City items. And so, there were a few places that it was lumber, but again, I would say of the 21 declines, I'll bet you 17 of them had garbage bags out. And so, again, we've changed over the last couple of years. We've changed to this new program where it actually has the GPS with our operators that are going out picking them up. It makes it easier. We have a certain address that calls in when they don't get picked up. They'll call in and they'll talk to Jean out at the service center. Jean can actually type into our dashboard. She can take a look at the address. You tell me that your address is Y, we can pull that address up. And my operators know when they go by, if it's a declined location, they'll actually take a picture of it. And that way she can pull it up and she can say, yes, you had 3 bags of garbage and lumber. This is the reason why it was declined. And so in the past, we would have had tickets and they wouldn't have been in until the end of the day, and then she would have had to have went back and looked and seen, or she would have called us. We would have had to have tried to remember what it was and why we left it. So this year we did change with the mattress drop-offs. Over the last few years, we've moved those from Scott Street ball fields in a roll-off to First and Ella in a roll-off. This year we tried moving it down to the compost site. Figured if you already had it loaded into your vehicle, to be able to run it down to the compost site where I have compost attendants that are on the clock from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We put message boards out, kind of told everybody what the hours were, where it was. We didn't have any mattresses dropped off outside of the gates or anywhere around the landfill that I was aware of. And so from my side of things, it worked really smooth. The attendants didn't have any complaints. And so if you look at the number of roll-offs that we had, again, it's a little misleading because it says that we had 16 roll-offs. That's more roll-offs than what we had last year. Those numbers are inflated a little bit because my Mars operators with the roll-off trucks, as they would come through and drop off a roll-off, if they were told if you see the roll-off over at the compost site, grab it, take it in and dump it. And so we would have a lot of mattresses that might have been stacked irregularly, leaving a lot of voids, a lot of open spaces. There were times where they would go at 4 o'clock. I told them no matter what, because they went home at 4, as where the compost attendants would stay till 8. They were told no matter what, you take the roll-off over and drop them both off at 4 o'clock before we go home. That way we have an empty in case we were to get a rush between 4 and 8. So those numbers are probably closer to, we're probably closer to 10, give or take, that might have actually been full mattresses. So again, our numbers are down. I think by having it out there and having everyone show proof of residency in Beatrice, again, I didn't have any complaints about that. I kind of wondered if we would. The attendance, it flowed smooth for them, and I think it showed in the numbers of mattresses that we ultimately took into the landfill. So, but I've heard some people say, you know, maybe the fact that it's been, 8 months since our last Clean City, could that be a part of the reason why our numbers are down? Could be. But if you look at the difference between 2020 and 2021, that was a year and a half, because we went from a May to an October, and our numbers actually dropped from 2020 to 2021. Our locations, I believe, actually dropped, if I remember right. I think went from 1,200 something down to 1,100 something, if I remember right.
And in the future, you're going to continue with the month of March?
May.
Or May, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. I like May. April, we can still get some snow. We still get some cold weather in April. The first part of May, I think, works out really nice for us because the street department, we haven't shifted entirely into our construction season yet. And yet it's a little warmer, maybe a little less chance of us getting into some snow or something like that. So it works out nice for the street department. And so, you know, it was nice to be able to tie all three of my departments in. I had a Mars operator that was running a roll-off truck for us. Really helped out when I was able to put a 30-yard roll-off on the back of a truck. My street department dump trucks are only 8 yards. To be able to put a 30-yard roll-off on the back of a truck, it really helps. Saves some manpower. It took the place of 3 dump trucks in the one guy. And so, and then being able to do it out at the compost site also, it works smooth.
And in the future, you anticipate that you'll still plan on using the compost site as the mattress drop-off?
I would like to. I think it worked out really nice. Keeps the mattresses out of town, keeps mattresses that are not Beatrice-related mattresses from coming into our landfill. And let's face it, that's what we're trying to do is, you know, landfill sells airspace. The last thing I need to do is take in mattresses from Kansas and out of county for free.
I really didn't have any issue with the identification?
Didn't have anybody that I heard. Nobody, the compost operators, when I talked to them, the guys all seemed like it worked out pretty smooth. Had one gentleman that was a little upset because he didn't get registered in Clean City. He was a little upset, he was a little obscene, he was asked to leave the landfill because of his foul temperament at the scale, because he did not get registered. But you know what, that's gonna happen every year when somebody doesn't get registered. We did send out notices for Clean City in our billing. We had it on we had it on our website. I believe Stan talked about it at least 3 or 4 times consecutive weeks with Clean City on the radio. And so I think we did about as well as we could for putting it out there.
And the media did a great job too of promoting it, so.
You said about $8,000.
Yes, sir, 7,900 and some change.
You know, really, you take the ones that were already gone, that drops it down quite a bit. You're only looking at like $13 a pickup. That's pretty economical for cleaning up the city. I don't know, you know, yeah, exactly. It's a bargain.
Yeah.
So,
And a
great
good
job.
service. And a good service.
And we really didn't see, we've all seen in the past the yards that had a dump truck of stuff sitting in front of their homes. I didn't see that this year. I saw a few that were, you know, that were maybe a couple of loader buckets, but I didn't see the dump truck loads that we saw in the past. We didn't see the white goods, of course. That's because iron is up and the scrappers were out. We did see them a little bit here and there, but you know, as long as it's going somewhere, it's getting turned in for scrap iron, whether they turn it in or we turn it in, it's still cleaning the community. Yes, sir.
When you said you sent out notices in the Board of Public Works building, it made me wonder, when somebody new hooks up to electricity, moves to Beatrice, do they get a copy of what the rules are? Because I still see the containers piled way high, and I know they don't dump that way, but do they get a notice kind of what those rules are when somebody applies to hook up the house electricity or have a change in
You're
name?
talking about the garbage cans?
Yeah,
From ours. When somebody comes in and they sign up for service, Carrie will go through and she'll explain to them. Carrie does an exceptionary job of discussing with the guys what we do, how we handle it, what our trucks are. To remind people, always be out at 6. If it's one thing that I've seen with 1 year with Mars now, is that I've had to cross-train as many people as possible on the ASLs, which are the automated side loaders. The more people I can have cross-trained on those, the better. Somebody's sick, somebody wants vacation, to be able to move guys in. We can't do an area one day other than Monday with one driver. Monday's the only day that I can do with one driver. The other days, it would put them past 4 o'clock, and then I would have to pay overtime for the operator as well as at the landfill. But, you know, so being able to cross-train a driver, if Stan's gonna run it one way, Aaron's gonna run it another way, and Ted's gonna run it another way. And so you may see your garbage get picked up at 6:30 every Thursday, and the day Ted drives it, it gets picked up at 8:30, and the day Aaron drives it, it gets picked up at 11:30. That's the one thing we do get phone calls about. My garbage hasn't get picked up. Well, it's a new driver. Hold on, they'll be there. And so, you know, but we do let everybody know, be out by 6. Take, you know, we try to let everybody know, if you have a garbage can and you got garbage bags stacked on top of your lid, we're not going to pick it up because it's going to spill down the side of the truck. You know, so, but the thing with that also is, if that happens, they call in. Carrie sets up a special pickup. I send one of my commercial trucks that are out doing dumpsters. We go back out, we pick it up. It's a $15 charge, and honestly, Mars doesn't make any money on that. That's the $15 minimum charge for Boswell. So.
And they generally just do that once.
Yeah, there's a couple that are
I know.
repeat offenders, but
I
yeah,
know.
generally they only do it once.
Yep.
Any other questions of Jason?
It was a good year. We didn't have any accidents, we didn't have any injuries. And anytime I can say that we've had the numbers that we had and the guys made it through without any problems, it was a good year.
Good. Thank you very much, Jason.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
sir.
All right. All right, next regular scheduled meeting is going to be on June 20th in these chambers, and may or may not have a work session on June 27th. With that, Mr. McLean?
I move the meeting be adjourned at 7:27 PM.
Second.
Moved by McLean, seconded by Fralin. That the meeting be adjourned at 7:27 PM. Your vote, please. That's approved.